We ready.
Hey, what's up, peeps y de lo mío? Sit down and take a seat. Que lo que? Siéntate. Lawrence and beyond and everybody else. What's going on?
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, in today's episode, hosting like always, your boy Majimbe. And today I got special guests with the S. I don't know if I pronounced it right. But I got Ace Vasquez. No, I got Angel Ace Vasquez. And I'm sorry I didn't get your name.
No, that's cool, man. You know what I'm saying? Ace probably didn't get to say that, but my name's Kevin Wiggins, actually.
Kevin Wiggins. And also we have Kevin Wiggins. And what's good, guys? Introduce yourselves.
Ace Vasquez, Amigos Mentoring, Lawrence Against Violence, YSU, YBU, and beyond. And Kev right here.
My name's Kevin Wiggins. I'm out here also family services, youth development specialist right now. So I'm in the community. I've done plenty of things in the community, coaching with the high school, with the Pop Warner. I've been down YBU. We out here. I'm with Ace, rocking with that all day. It started from YSU, so you have to give it up to Stephanie Casada because she's doing her thing right now.
Stephanie's doing
Shout out
big.
to Steph.
You got to bring her.
She's doing her thing right now.
You got to bring. She's doing big things. Right
Yeah,
now.
she started
for the community.
Like that, when I say start from the bottom, that's somebody definitely started from the bottom and what she's doing. So that's big things for the community right there.
Word. Shout out to Steph. And Ace, really briefly, or even you can expand on that, not briefly. It's a podcast. What are Merrimack Valley Family Services?
Okay, so I work for Family Services of the Merrimack Valley. We service people from babies to elderly. We have a mentoring program. We have a youth development program, which Kev works in. We also have a fatherhood and couples programs. We definitely try to bring the resources to the city and the Merrimack Valley also.
And that's something you would take upon yourself, or you go somewhere, you apply for that job, or you go to the city and you ask for this. So how do you get that going? Like how do you get involved in this?
All right, so how I started as a street outreach worker for SSYI, Safe and Successful Youth Initiative, through the Lawrence Youth Team. So I worked with them. I did about 2 years with them, and then I saw that I wasn't growing. I wasn't going nowhere. There wasn't no way of leveling up there. So I started looking for another job, and I went on Indeed, and I found Family Services was looking for a facilitator for Amigos Mentoring. So I put in an application, and I went to 2 interviews, and they chose me, and I'm here now.
That's pretty dope. And this program is called Amigos Mentoring.
Amigos Mentoring.
And what do you guys do over there?
All right, so Amigos Mentoring is a mentoring program that it was created, funded by OJJDP, created by me and Amy Marte. Big ups to Amy. She's the coordinator for Amigos. It's me and her who's behind. She's behind the curtain, doing a lot of the coordinating, doing a lot of the work. She's a hard worker. She's smart. Thank you for everything you do, Amy. And what we do is we work with 3 schools. We partnered up with 3 schools. It's the Arlington School, the Guilmette, and the Rise Academy. And what we do is we find mentors where they can do things in the community. The kids are from 11 to 15 years old, and they usually have a CRA, Child Requesting Assistance, which, it's also like a gang prevention program, So we're trying to just keep the kids busy, get some positive role models, to spend some time with these kids, because right now at the moment, that a lot of things is happening in our city in regards to the youth.
Yeah, especially if parents are busy, then they can't always be there.
Yeah, I bump into that a lot.
Lawrence, rent and housing is going up.
Right.
So you guys are a very big help. Kevin, I had a random question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
You said you coach Papawana, right?
Yeah, definitely, man.
How do you feel about contact sports and little kids? Their brain development, all that stuff, man.
So that's a good question, actually. The way I feel, honestly, is that we have to develop our kids the way that time has always happened. I don't think contact sports are for the worst. I just think that you just need to be more aware. So when your kid tells you that there's an injury, I think they just need to take a little bit more attention to that. I think the NFL is trying to take steps towards that, and it's hard because the game is played so fast. But that's going to happen when kids are getting older, they're developing faster.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see a kid that's 5, looks like they're 7. You see a kid that's 14, looks like they're 17. So, as the game develops, it's because the talent has developed. So we need to create more precautionary measures. And it's funny because I used to be the player safety coach during my time with Pop Warner. So I used to be responsible for making sure all the coaches were teaching tackle in the right way, which is one of the biggest things, you know, when kids are not tackling the right way. But we have other contact sports like boxing. You know, boxing's in the Olympics. Are we going to take it out the Olympics because it's a contact sport? We have other contact sports like UFC where, you know, their gloves aren't as padded as boxing, you know, but the game is still growing. You know, there's not as many stars today, but the game is still growing. There's still a huge amount of people and following that are going to these events and spending the money going to these events. Why? Because they enjoy the contact sport.
You know, not to cut you off or anything, but a fun fact: the reason why the UFC gloves are smaller, well, not the reason. The UFC gloves on fighters, their gloves are smaller, right? The boxer's very big.
Right.
Boxers do more damage to themselves because the more padding you have, the more jiggle your brain creates. Like they said that boxers actually in contact sport between UFC and boxing, the boxers get their brains more damaged more. I didn't believe that for a while because I see these guys throwing elbows, but it's like, no, the more padding you put, the more of a gelatin feeling you get in your brain. The less padding, like let's say for example, boxers get the wrist wrapped. That means it can't go like this. It's a blunt weapon. That's why they get licensed. Right. UFC guys, they just get a little strap over here. Maybe they get some wrapping, but when you hit, your wrist kind of moves and it doesn't hit you with a full impact as you having a cast over your wrist and like a blunt weapon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can see where you're going with that. You know, 2 professional boxers died last year, and no professional athletes died in MMA last year, I believe. You know, so I can definitely see where you're going with that.
Yeah, well, yeah,
you know,
like that's the sign. Rest in peace.
You know, to the 2 that passed away, they were really good boxers actually.
And so with me saying this, do you think rugby was a safer option? This just hit me right now.
You said rugby.
Rugby. You know what? I'm all for European sports. Like I'm all for it. You know what I mean? Like, well, you know, everything was kind of made overseas and in between, but you know, that's a discussion for another time. But I think European sports are great. When I was growing up, actually, I played football, but I always wanted to play soccer. And when I found out how them kicks to the shin hurt, I was like, no, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? At least there's more padding in football, but they're taking kicks to the shin. You could tear an ACL. But rugby, I mean, there's not enough awareness around rugby. How can you even say that that's a contact sport? Like, guys are banging, but they love it. You know what I mean? So that's only tough guys play rugby. I say that. Like Irishmen, Russians, German. You know?
Or if not, they go to lacrosse and do the same thing with a stick.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's probably not big in America because they're like rugby.
Right. Insurance, America's big on health insurance.
Yeah, right. Frat boys love it. You know, shout out my boy Michael. He does that, the rugby and stuff. So
cool.
I believe that every sport, they should just be open with the sports here because I know basketball is a big thing in Lawrence, but I believe that there's other kids that like other sports and you know, soccer, you know, whatnot. We need to spread more sports in the city. We need different things to do.
I agree with that.
And Ace,
I agree with that.
Have you, and you can leave it for you two guys. It's all fine. That way, you know, the guy could hear me as a mystery voice. I want them to really see you guys. It's your episode. It's your product. So, you know, I mean, I appreciate the gesture, Ace. And Ace, I wanted to ask you, have you ever, because this is Amigos Mentoring program. Do you actually face-to-face mentor like a kid or
yes? So I believe in you gotta walk the walk before you can talk the talk. So I mentor two Amigos kids, and I mentor other kids on the side.
Okay.
So yes, it's one-on-one. It's in the community. We tell our mentors to pick them up 3 to 4 times a month. 3 times being the least. We understand that life happens and things happen. You know, we're very flexible with that, but we got to make sure that we're consistent because that's what these kids need is consistency.
Right.
And any big thank yous from the parents and stuff like that?
Like, definitely, man. You know, I got parents that come up to me and they be like, "Oh, you're an angel. You're a real angel." And you know, and they be like, "Oh my gosh, thank you." You know, like you can see them like really appreciative and. You know, and it's heartwarming. You know, keep it real with you. It makes you feel good. You know, and it's a feel good type of thing. Mentoring is not only for the kids; it's also for you.
That's
It
very,
goes
very
both
wise
ways. It
words.
goes
He's just
both
getting
ways.
a lot of love right now. You know, he just got staff for the month at our job.
Oh, really?
Recently.
Yeah, that's what's up.
You know, we got a big, large population of staff in our job too. So good for you, man.
Thank you, my
Shout
brother.
outs,
Thank you.
man. Congratulations.
Thank
and,
you.
For the Lawrence Against Violence organizing,
Okay.
how do you guys start organizing violence? Like
That the Lawrence Against Violence.
Yeah.
All right, so we gotta give a shout out to George Lynette. Yeah, George came and he just said,
he
let
was
me-
in the museum. I'm sorry, that George.
well, he works for an organization. I'm not gonna mention it because they don't want
Okay.
him to mention his organization. But he does this on his own time. He considers himself an at-risk youth worker. So he says, that's what I am. But he organized us. It's 9 of us. He reached all of us, said, let's have a meeting. Then we did the first march, which was back in November, which we had like 150 plus people. And it was really, really cold. And I want to give a shout out to everybody that came out and really cared about the community because it was really, really cold. And we stayed out there. We represented for Lawrence.
Yes, for sure, definitely.
But yeah, so he got us together, 9 different organizations, or some different organizations. He put all of us together, and he sat us down together, and we just went with it. And let me tell you, it blew up. So we just been running with it.
And what was your first step into that cause? Because you're trying to prevent violence against Lawrence.
Well-
What was the first project you guys went into out there? It's like, all right, guys, this is the first mission. I think this is gonna help with the cause.
Well, we work with youth, and a lot of our youth are being affected by violence. And also my past, I come from the same thing as these youth are going through. I've lost a lot of friends towards violence. I've been through domestic violence, seen it, different types of violence. And I just want to say violence is not normal, just to put that in there. But, we started seeing a lot of the violence that is affecting the families in Lawrence, affecting the community, the youth, I just want to find ways to pull these youth away from violence, from being someone who commits violence to being a victim, So it goes both ways, and I work with both, because violence, like I said, violence is not normal, and it just brings our city down. It just brings everybody down. Families are destroyed, friends,
House rates.
Everything. It affects violence. Violence affects everything.
Gentrification, it's real.
Yeah, and we are going through gentrification in Lawrence,
You
people.
talked about rent
Just to
payment
let
rates,
you know,
definitely.
we are going through gentrification.
They want us to go to Haverhill, I think.
Yeah.
I
Well,
live in
Haverhill's
so,
going through the same problem, man. Shout outs to everybody out there. Shout outs to
Shout-outs.
UTEC out there doing their thing. Shout outs to UTEC, Carlos, and all of them. Working to stop the violence in Haverhill and Lawrence, Lowell. It's just violence is like a virus. It just spreads. So we got to treat it like that. We got to be doctors.
Word.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And when you guys are huddling in this organization, I mean, right now, what is in your mind, if you could say it, what is the next step to take it to the next level for this organization?
All right. So at the moment, what we're doing is we're definitely spreading awareness, and offering resources, to the public. We're in our organization, we're organizing still in the stages. We're crawling, we're babies, we have hiccups, So right now we had a meeting yesterday. We're going to be doing a march in the St. Patrick's Parade. I invite everybody to come out and march because this is about the community. This is about Lawrence. And if we don't come together, this is not going to work because this is not about ACE. It's not about the organizers. It's about Lawrence as a community.
Cool. Randomly, how was your trip in D.C., man? Washington, D.C.
talk about
Man.
that.
So, Amigos Mentoring is funded by OJJDP. They sent me to Washington, D.C. For about four days, 3 nights. Let me tell you, it was awesome. 1,300 mentors and mentor organizations were there. It was very powerful to hear different people's story and to see that everybody has the same goal, is to reach the youth and and mentor these kids that really need that. Also, we took some workshops, so I learned a lot. I learned a lot with the workshops. I'm always taking training in family services. They train us all the time. Family services does really good with that. Family Services is awesome. Let me tell you, it's an awesome organization that cares about the community. So I went out there, met a lot of people, made a lot of good connections, and it's gonna be, and those connections, I'm gonna use them to help our city.
Nice, that's beautiful. And but I heard a lot of nice things, but you guys were protesting. Why were you protesting?
No, I wasn't protesting.
Oh, you wasn't protesting?
No.
That's not the pictures.
Yeah. No, I just took pictures of people protesting
Okay.
against the president. I was just there taking pictures.
Oh, then
but I wasn't
Ace is out
protesting.
I was gonna say I might have missed that one.
No protesting for me. I sometimes joke around with politics and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, I believe that we all got to work together. Me in regards to presidency and all that, what's going on, it's really none of my business, kind of, because at the moment I'm focused on our city, and unfortunately, whatever he's doing is, I really don't want to get into that. All that politics stuff, politics and religion. Keep it out.
Yeah.
But do you think protesting works?
Nah. Well, yes, because Kev, what do you think? What do you think about protesting?
I think that's a great area.
Mm-hmm.
I think we got to be careful when we talk about protesting. There's different ways to do it, and that's the main thing. What message are you trying to get across when you're protesting?
Mm-hmm.
If you're out there kind of just causing ruckus and just being loud, and you don't really have a message or a point, what are you trying to accomplish?
Yeah.
And that goes for all races, all views.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a powerful message and there's something that you're trying to accomplish, something you're fighting for, I'm all for it. Freedom of speech.
Okay.
So, and again, obviously, people have different things to do in their life and different things to fight for. We all have our own opinions, like Ace said. I'm just all for the message. Yeah. That's my thing, all for the message.
Yeah, like how I see protesting. I like to think that it works, but there's there's a lot of it, but like you said, it depends on the cause.
I think
you have to be smart on what you're protesting.
I think it works, the Majimbe. When there's votes involved.
Yes, votes.
Yeah.
So when they see a lot of people together and be like, "Oh, that's a lot of votes right there,"
who's involved in the protest?
It's a voting game.
That's another thing, because it's not about how many numbers are out there. It's who's involved in the protest. That's another thing too. I noticed. You have protests when they had the school shootings down in Florida. You had protests in Charlottesville when that was going
Puerto
on.
Rico.
Yeah, protests
when
in
we
Puerto Rico.
When we took that guy out. Now that I'll talk about.
There's a lot of different protests.
Don't
get A started on Puerto Rico.
They took him out. So we already got set. But they put somebody else that's almost like him. But whatever, PR is going through a lot right now, man. Everybody. I just want to give a shout out to my Puerto Ricans out there going through stuff. My mom,
definitely.
I love you. My sister going through the
right
earthquakes over there, shaking almost all since December 28th.
everybody
So if you
in
can
Puerto
help
Rico.
by sending tents, anything out there, some people are sleeping outside because they don't want to sleep in their homes. So that's something that I want to talk. I'm okay with talking about that because they're in need, and it's like anybody in the world, if Dominican Republic is in need, we should help them, we got to help our brothers,
Do you have any funds, any donation
Well,
information?
I want to give out to Hiwayagua. They went ahead and they did a fundraiser and they bought, and they were very transparent of everything they bought, and they were transparent of who they were sending it to, and they sent it out there, and they also even helped my sister. And I just want to say thank you very much, Jorge Estevez and the Hiwayagua team. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart.
I really like that transparent.
Yeah,
that word. I know exactly what you meant when you said that, man.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they really there's some other people like Tainas Guerreras, Tainas Unidas. They're doing their thing. You got in the Bronx. They got a organization out there that they always go on. They always go hard when something happens in the island. El Maestro. Shout outs to El Maestro in the Bronx, man. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Orocovis, Alberto, thank you for what you're doing. We are watching you. Tommy, I see you, brother. I see you, Tommy. So, it's all about helping the brother, man, because if we don't help each other, we're going to perish together. That's how it is, real. We're
what happens when it comes to us,
Yeah,
God
man.
forbid.
Yeah.
It's things like that can happen anywhere. I mean, look at Australia's on fire.
Right.
You know, everything is going nuts right now, and if we could help, why not? Especially if we're well off.
I also want to just say, I need mentors. I need mentors. So if you want to mentor youth, you want to be part of the solution, just hit me up and we can work something out because I have kids that need a caring adult in their life.
How would you start a new mentee?
A new mentor?
Mentor.
So what I do is of course, I reach out. They hit me up. I explain how the program works. I set up an interview. They go through the paperwork, and then we do a training. A mentor training so they can understand who they're working with, with the youth, the brain, A lot of people don't understand how the kids' brains are not fully developed. So, so you got to understand that. This is why this kid is acting this way. This is why this is happening. So we try to train them with that. And then we go ahead and we interview a mentee and their parents, the mother or whatever. And then we choose a mentor for that kid depending on their likes and dislikes, and I try to pair them up as best possible so it can be a great match.
Cool, that's dope. And I wanted to ask you because when you were in Washington, were you also trying to talk the Massachusetts senators or the committee for science? Can you explain to me a little about that?
All right, so a little bit of politics, right? So I went to the Capitol Hill, and while the impeachment was going. And unfortunately, I couldn't speak to the senators themselves, but I spoke to their staff with a few of my colleagues, mentoring colleagues, and I spoke to Trahan's staff, Elizabeth Warren's staff, Ed Markey's staff, and we went there to ask for help, for funds, for mentoring as a whole in the United States, for $120 million to be exact. To help with all these programs and the programs that back and help other mentoring programs, develop programs. Also, I went and spoke about Lawrence Against Violence because I have to rep for Lawrence. I spoke about our programs, about Amigos, and and said, listen, we need help. We need more funds. We need more resources. And unfortunately, you have to go to them. They're the ones who. Go and fight for it and sign the laws and sign the check over, Sign the check over. Yes. We need the check. Lawrence needs the check. 120 million.
Not just Lawrence, but a lot of communities.
Yeah.
There's a lot of communities out there.
Yeah. So it's going to affect the whole United States. The 120 million is for the whole United States.
Yeah.
Mind you, that's now that I'm thinking about it, it's not that much compared to how many cities we have in the United States that need that.
No, we need more money.
Right.
But it starts so they can see the little impact, and then hopefully there could be a tunnel for them. Like, okay, this is working for our people. It's working for everybody.
Right.
Stuff like that.
Right.
Some people, they think that you're out there trying to get money and stuff like that for yourself, and it's not. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah,
it's a nonprofit. The money's counted. You gotta show records. It's not like you're gonna go and get rich off of this. So if you're thinking you're working in this type of lifestyle, this type of work that we do, you think you're gonna make a lot of money. You're not. You're in the wrong business. This is about people that have a big heart and they really care about the community. So doing mentoring is not for everybody, but it's one of those things you gotta have the heart.
You build relationships though.
That's all about building
That's
relationships.
the most important thing is that I think that's what people forgot about is how to build relationships. And so many people are focused on the money, and I mean, like, I'm not gonna lie, I definitely want to make sure I'm taken care of, on the financial side. But as far as relationships, you can't get those back. You got to build those as much as possible, and I think that's a lost art.
It's true.
Definitely, we got to learn how to communicate better. We got to learn how to give more. Like, I look at the incident when in Notre Dame, the cathedral burned down last year. It burned down, but there was so many people willing to just donate money so quick. They was throwing money around, and the place is still not built up. They're still trying to find a way to build it up, but it's too damaged, But people find it very hard to give money to causes like, stopping violence or helping families, and now they're trying to cut down, how much money they give to each state in terms of like child support and WIC and food stamps and all these things. And it's tough. You're forcing people into the streets,
And you think it's a transparency issue? That's why people are letting off the gas, you think? Or other issues?
I think there's other issues created.
Okay.
For whatever reason, there's not as many people who care enough.
Okay.
you know, who care enough to make the difference. And I look at the change in the generation, you know, definitely like in the 70s, there was a lot of people, you know, with the protesting, doing a lot more. You know, you had the Woodstock, and you had people in high school who were protesting in Vietnam. High school is not thinking about that. You know, they're using the war possibly as like a meme or a joke. You know, they're not really focused on their future, or they're not really focused on getting the help that they need for themselves. So as long as that focus is elsewhere, it helps, you know, the bigger picture, because there's no voters out there. You know, look at who we have in the race against the president. It's not really a lot of options. You know, people are like, oh, I'm not going to vote for Trump, but what is the options? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, if it's not Bernie, I'm not doing Elizabeth Warren. I'm not doing a lot of people.
Even Bernie's 70.
No comment.
78, right?
Yeah, Bernie's kind of old. I heard
No comment for me.
I think, I mean, no disrespect to nobody. I don't know his name, but there is a Asian fellow that's running too. He has some interesting ideas. I don't know his name on top of my head. I apologize again. But who are the, you know, like, I'm not even going to get into it because Ace, but what are the options?
What are the options? That's all I'm saying. Consider all the options. I'm not.
One thing I say, go out and vote.
Yeah, go out and vote.
Go out and
Consider
vote.
the options.
Yeah, youth, get into voting, because there's a few people in Lawrence.
People hate politics.
Making your decisions in your city. So learn about it, because, you know, people making decisions for the whole city. You know, there's few people making decisions for the whole country. So vote.
And I think it starts too with our education system. Why can't we make at least, like, American history? I'm not even gonna get to that because I got my personal.
Ooh, that's a touchy subject.
Yeah, that's a touchy for me. But why can't we make that subject history, humanities, and give a little section for voting to teach little kids? Hey, you might meet this in your life. You know, you might vote in the future. What is voting? You know, you could throw that little category inside your regimen.
The problem is who's gonna be running that.
Yeah, that's the thing. It could
biased. So, you know, that's kind of...
They need to change the entire education system.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, they need to go away from the norms of the English and the math. And
everything has evolved for that.
Yeah, life skills.
Everything.
The school system needs to change.
I seen an article the other day, and it was saying, it was like, the esports is now a major in some colleges. You know, esports is a major in some colleges. They had kids in the
video games just making money.
Esports, and it was focused on. I'm like, wow.
Like that kid that won what, $2 million, $1 million.
Playing Fortnite, something like that. Yeah, he gave his father half his father. Like, yo,
buy you more games. Buy you more games, right?
You know what I mean?
It's a fact. Yeah. Imagine you go to school for esports. I mean, come on. If that was offered to the generation before us, imagine, you know, they could take the easy way out. But what does that say for the generation after us, you know?
Yeah,
so
not good.
Again,
it's
tough.
I see what you mean. It's a little squirrely because of that, people aren't going to college as much for certain things.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like it's so outdated.
I'm sorry, but college. Why is that word college? What about trade?
Trade is very important. I'm a trade guy. A trade guy.
Trade, man. Yeah. The youth, you know, you don't have to go to college. You can get a trade. You know, become a plumber, become a welder. Like.
But that's what he's talking about, is that so many people are not choosing to go to college.
Yeah,
because they're finding alternative options.
Yeah, you have to find alternative options.
Not everybody not to do a lot of things out of the norm, like go to church and.
I used to be a bill collector.
Oh my God! You got patience, bro. I cannot bother people.
I used to collect on student loans. Let me tell you, you know, I feel bad for the elderly people, like the grandparents and stuff, that they got stuck with the bill. You know, people can't afford it. Right? You know, there was people that were like, I had to collect it. I was the friendly bill collector. I was your friendly bill collector, though. I helped them as much as I
numbers,
could.
Didn't you?
This guy, I could put it down 20%, man. You can help out. I mean, it's only $200K.
I was pretty good. I got bonuses.
Nice. And like Kevin was saying, that is like prior, it was like who you know. In college, like, I've seen this multiple times now, not in this age, because I have friends that are coming out of college, already out of college, tell me, Brian, it's literally who you know.
Right.
You can finish college, but you don't know nobody. You didn't apply yourself for some internships to get your feet wet.
Right.
It's hard to get hired just with a degree and nothing else.
You gotta know somebody.
You gotta know somebody. And
building relationships.
my way, I live in the projects. I always told myself, what can society always need, so I could provide for my mom and family and get out of here.
Yeah.
You know, I looked at a couple of trades. I'm like, you know what? I could go anywhere in the world, and they're gonna need a welder. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's like a mechanic. Yeah. Anywhere in the world you can work.
I say that's art, man. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of artists that weld together scrap metals and do all types of creative stuff.
And you're gonna have to want to do it, because there's a difference of, and that's the thing that happens to some young minds, that they like the idea of a position or a job because it brings them something, but do you like it?
Right.
You know, I looked at every single one, and I liked welding, and boom, on my junior year, I got sent a co-op. I was the first one in my class of 09 to go to co-op. I was so into it. I said, all right, let's get this kid working. My junior year, I was 1 week of high school, 1 week of work. 1 week of high school, 1 week of work.
That's dope.
I'm only 29. I already have 12 years in the manufacturing field.
I
You know what
only,
I'm saying? Like, I'm going hard. Like, I don't
that's
play.
I only made it to 9th grade. I was living in Dorchester. Well, I was living in Puerto Rico, sent to Dorchester. My mom couldn't deal with me, so she sent me with my father. So I was living in Franklin Field Projects, and I went to the Hyde Park High School, which they call the Haitian High. So I was like a few of us, you know, like probably 2 or 3 Puerto Ricans, and like 2 Dominicans, and we stuck together. And it was a real tough school. You know, it was crazy. I had to go to Mattapan. I take a bus from Dorchester to Mattapan, and you know Mattapan is AKA Murder Pan. If everybody knows about Mattapan. And then from Mattapan Station, I will have to go heavy. And I will have to go I had to take 2 buses there and 2 buses back. You know what I mean? And it wasn't easy, you know. There was a lot of stuff,
Testy
and
thing,
it was testy, and I was already dabbling in the gangs too, so you know. It was very testy.
How you get your head out of that
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
man.
That could have dragged you
To be
even
real with
deeper.
you, a lot of fakeness. You know, I got set up. You know, did some time twice. You know, and you know, and then I was, you know, I was always, you know, saying, you know what, this is not for me. There's something else for me. You know, God was a big part of that. You know, so it was like, you know, something else, something bigger. You know. And I really wanted to just work on me, you know. I wanted to live life. I wanted to start living. I felt like I wasn't living, you know. It was always a struggle. It was always, you know, the cops after you, always getting raided, you know. Everywhere I walked, getting pulled over, pulled side, harassed, you know. Because, you know, the gang task was back in the late 90s. They didn't play.
Back
There was a lot of them too, you know. It was, you know, Tony Turco, you know, he was one of the head of the gang task force. You know, you had, oh man, I forgot his name, man. He was a crazy dude. He passed away, but let me tell you, they were on me, man. Every apartment I lived in, you know, they were on me and my team, you know, that I was with at that time, you know, and. You know, I just got tired of losing. I wanted to win for once. So I made the decision when I was in the farm. I was locked up in the farm to look for a way out.
Locked up in the farm?
Yeah. So I did time in Middleton. Then I went to the work release at the farm. They call it the farm.
Oh, okay.
You know, and I worked in the kitchen, waking up 3 in the morning every day, cooking breakfast for everybody. And then after that, they saw me doing that for a while. They saw how I was, you know, on my game, you know, always there, working.
Young ace.
That was a young ace turning over at that time like a pancake.
Using his group skills for the
Yeah.
better.
That's what it was.
I want to tell you a story,
That
though.
was the first start of it. Like,
I want to tell you a story how I got to the farm, and I got a lot of people to the farm, and people can. This is the truth. I got people who can tell you this is the truth, all right? This is a sign about Ace. I'm going to tell you right now. We were in the hole, right?
No way.
We were in the hole. It was all of us. We couldn't get out, you know, 72-hour showers, you know, and stretching out was all chained up, you know. Some people were there for like a year, 2 years, you know, before I got there. So they were already there, you know, and some people were just depressed, whatnot. So I said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do a hunger strike.
That's why.
we talked about protesting earlier, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, doesn't work. We're gonna
So I did a hunger strike, you know, and
that's why he deferred on protesting.
Yeah.
Like, let me take this because, you know, I've been there.
Yeah. So I protested inside Middleton, and it was successful, right? So we protested, you know, by not taking the food, and it was just one meal, and then they opened my cell, and they were like, what do you want?
Like, yo, we ain't doing this.
What do you want?
Right.
Hey, what do you guys want? I said, listen, we want to block. We want to go to the farm. We want to get out of here. We want to stretch. We want to play basketball. So they gave us everything we wanted. Right? So they put us in 240B block, right? But check this out, right? But before that, they were like, okay, we'll give you everything you want, but you got to do the first boot camp. So the first boot camp ever in Middleton. So it was a boot camp inside the jail.
And like, what, you guys woke up trained?
Yeah. So the COs trained as drill sergeants, and then they came in marching in, and being drill sergeants. In the military, the same way in Middleton, we were the Alpha Pioneers. We were the first ones, and I graduated from that. I finished that, and they sent us to the farm.
Basically,
So I got people
whip
home.
them in shape to get to the farm.
Yeah, a little compromise,
Yeah,
like,
right.
I respect that.
Right.
Yeah. So when I was in the farm, I did the working, and then they saw that I was doing good. And they gave me a job outside in Amesbury, and I was doing that for a little bit in a warehouse, and I was getting like $10 an hour, and I was saving money because I was in the farm.
Yeah.
So I came out with a few
The
dollars.
sun started coming out.
Yeah. So then from there they put me in the Michael's Harborside. You know what Michael's Harborside is?
Mm-hmm.
You ever been there? It's a restaurant in Newburyport, and I was washing dishes. I would never wash a dish again. You know what I'm saying? I was
Dishwasher out there.
I would do 1,000 plates a day.
Shit.
And I was nice.
So you don't wash dishes at home now?
I try not to. My girl, appreciates when I do.
Babe, I'm dramatized.
It's a
I
struggle.
But
It's a struggle, right? She's like, babe,
it's
take that plate to
traumatic.
the kitchen.
It's-
You wash that, please. He
It's
be sweating on the
traumatic.
way to the
plastic plates,
kitchen.
all plastic plates and forks.
Yeah, let me say I thought about that before plastic plates.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, nah.
Traumatized.
Smelling like fish because it's
Yeah.
it's a seafood place,
You know, that happens. My pops, he was locked up for a while. And I remember one time I was hanging out with him, and he's like, what do you want to eat? And I was like, oh, something simple, ramen noodles. He panicked. He's like, ramen? Ramen. I'm like, it's simple.
Yeah, that's traumatic.
Yeah,
That's
he was.
trauma.
He was
PTSD.
traumatized,
I can't.
Yeah, and I get it. I'm like, yeah, I get
PTSD.
it.
Where's
I
the
get it.
fried chicken?
I get it.
Yeah, probably brings you to like an Asian spot to get like a whole ramen.
Yeah.
This is what we get.
Yeah.
Bro,
That
trying
type
to
of
keep it
ramen.
simple, He's like, nah. He panicked. Like, why are you sweating for? It's only ramen.
Yeah, but I just want to give a shout out to everybody that are locked up.
Yeah,
I got a lot of friends doing life. I got friends doing life in prison. I got some friends that are in Middleton. Some youth, that are in DYS. I want to give a shout out to them too. Even though they're not perfect, they could whatever. But I can't. Who am I to talk? I wasn't perfect. You know what I'm saying? I made my mistakes. You know what I'm saying? And look where I'm at now. So there's a possibility of people to change if some people just invest their time on these people, building a relationship with these people, helping them with the resources. A lot of people coming out of prison, they got nothing. They're not rehabilitating nothing.
Right.
So there should be more programs set up and more ways when they come out. There's things for them. There's places for them to live, jobs, trainings, whatnot. So there won't be no recidivism. What is it?
Yeah,
So
doing
they
the
won't have
same
to go
thing.
back in
Yeah,
prison.
right.
I'm sorry if I said the wrong word.
Because
if I killed
community
it.
doesn't help. I mean, sometimes, you got a record. I'm not gonna let you work here.
Yeah.
I'm like, where am I supposed to start then?
Yeah,
Yeah. So like me, I got guys, if you've been out of trouble for a while, I say 7 to 10 years, and you want to get everything expunged, hit me up on my Facebook. You can go on the mass.gov page, and there is a form that is for free. You fill it out, you send it out. 6 weeks later, they'll stamp it. If they approve it, then they'll expunge your record. I did it, and what I'm saying, I want to give a shout out to Jeffrey Guzman for putting me onto that, and I did it, and I got my record expunged. So if I could do it, you can do it, and I know other people that did it too. So if you need that help, just send the Xbox.
On your Facebook page?
Yeah, just inbox me. Just inbox me, and and I'll send you the paperwork, man, because I believe in second chances. Not everybody's perfect. You know what I'm saying?
True. And before we
Nobody's perfect. What am I saying?
No, nobody's perfect.
Jeez,
Yeah,
take
right.
that back.
He got edited.
Right? Yeah, edit that.
Before I even consider closing things out, you were in a Haverhill panel. I mean, are you going to a Haverhill panel
Today, yeah.
0 to 100.
Yeah. So with Dennis, the preacher man, the preacher rapper.
Oh, yeah.
What? You got a
Yeah.
preacher rapper? in Haverhill?
Yeah. What is this guy doing calling me? Don't call me. Please don't call me. I'm in an interview. Lennon, I'll call you afterwards. But yeah, so So with that said, the behavioral panel is being hosted by Pose Inc. POSE Inc. Dennis, the preacher rhyme.
Yeah, preacher.
Right. Yeah, he's the one who's
He's a good dude.
You got videos, man.
Yeah. If you don't know Dennis, Dennis is out here.
He
He's
got
He's out here.
Yeah.
He
And
reformed himself.
yeah, and we have a story too. I have a story with him too, from before, but we'll leave that for another day. But yeah, so we're gonna be there today at 7:00. It's gonna be a 4-man panel. It's gonna be me, Carlos Collazo from UTEC, my friend Juan Conce, who finished doing like almost 20 years in prison. And Osiris from the Hancock Project, from the Bricks, man. Salute to the Bricks, to all my people from the Bricks. We Bricks brothers, So I was born in Lawrence, but I lived in PR, then moved back, and I grew up in the Bricks for a long time of my life before I went back to the island and Boston and whatnot. I've been all around. But yeah, so with that said, it's gonna be about the school to prison pipeline. We're just gonna talk about how we ended up in the prison system and in the gang and the violence, how we got involved in all that, and how I started from the school to the prison. It's just it's always the same. It's always the same, kind of the same story. It starts almost the same. So.
And Kevin, do you have any closing messages? When let's say if I had nephews, where would I go for my kids to get some Papawana training and stuff like that?
Well, sports for the Papawana. If you play football, that's always happening in August. Right now, if you're playing any sports, baseball is a good sport to play because they're offering that now. But like I say, I work for Family Services. I do youth development. I can definitely touch upon having kids come in and helping them out more. Because we do talks a lot about anger management. We do talks a lot about budgeting and stuff like that. And I'm not going to touch too much upon that because I don't know what I can and can't say. Yeah. But definitely, if anybody wants to reach out to me, you can always find me 430 North Canal Street. I'm always at the YMCA or the Lawrence Public Library. I'm there sometimes 2 or 3 days a week.
Oh, you can hit me up.
Right, you can hit up Ace. You can always find me. If anybody knows Nelson Rosario, he used to coach at Lawrence High too. He's not going to be there this year, but I'm very well connected to him. I'm always around. You can find me anywhere. But if you have any nephews, anything like that, or any youth at all, I encourage you to get them a hobby. Definitely get them a hobby because kids don't have enough hobbies. I go around all the time, and I do public speaking a lot. So I go into classrooms with like 25, 30 kids, like 4 or 5 times a week. And I'm always asking kids, like, what's your hobby? Who's your role model? What do you do? And the only thing they do is smoke hookah, and none of them have a role model.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Like, how? When I was growing up, my role model was Will Smith. To this day, it's still Will Smith. He's the smoothest dude I know. He lost it a little bit. Yeah. But I'm like, growing up, that was the smoothest dude I know. You know what I'm saying?
He's not perfect.
I'm like, that's who I wanted to be like. You know what I'm saying? And I always was like, I had hobbies. Like, I wanted to play sports. I wanted to
I played outside every day.
I wanted to
win
prom king.
Yeah,
like, I wanted to do things. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, played outside every day as a kid. I do with my daughter now. Yesterday I was in the gym with my daughter, and I had the little goal set up. We was doing soccer.
Yeah,
she was loving it. She's like, thanks, Dad, for being my coach. And I'm looking around like, you know what? I might be a soccer coach. I might have to get into this soccer thing a little bit. Right?
You know what I mean?
Coach soccer. I never coached soccer before, but I'll do it now.
I wanted to add 2 things, Also, on top of everything else that we spoke, I am also, me and the youth, my mentees, we created Reeling in Youth Fishing Club, and we go fishing in the summer. Yeah. And we do a lot of that, and we're trying to get that spread out in the city of Lawrence to have kids to experience fishing. There's a lot of kids that never been to it. Mother Nature is medicine. So, fishing is very cool, calming. It helps them think and calm down and
when
enjoy.
When does it start again?
It starts by the end of March. That's when the bass starts, moving in closer to feed, and it gets a little warmer. So we'll go out and start doing that, trying to bring some kids out. I'm trying to get that all organized still. I have so much going on, and I also wanted to talk about Stephanie. Stephanie Quesada, she started the Young Sisters United, which I hope you invite her over. Yeah. And I started volunteering under her when I'm not working. So I do volunteer work, and I created something called, with Kev on the side, Young Brothers United. which we're gonna be just doing circles with these kids in certain schools and at the library.
That's dope.
So that's something that's gonna come in the future. So like an after school program kind of thing. Because we understand that these kids need something to do. And the way Young Brothers United, we came up with it is a brotherhood, Young Brothers United. Yeah. So we're gonna start a positive brotherhood, and we're gonna do fishing, and we're gonna do other things.
Fishing is different. That's cool. That's cool.
We're gonna be doing other fun stuff together. We're gonna talk about the problems, creative, build hobbies, the talents, the life skills, youth development. We're gonna do it all. We're gonna fill in those gaps. Right. All right. So, shout out to Arlington School. Shout out to the Guilmette, the Rise Academy, to Osiris, the Lawrence Against Violence movement, to Dylan, to Joaquin, to all the youth. I see you, Yimo. Tommy, everybody that's been watching, the youth. We do this for you guys. Just want to let you know, we're doing this for the city and for the youth. So remember, every time you see us, show us some love because we're here for you. All right? And if you need anything, holler at us. We'll try to direct you to the right way, or we'll try to help you with that resource.
All right, brother. Thank you guys for coming, man. It was a pleasure, man. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Majimbe, thank you for having us.
Thank you, Ace. Yo, Kevin, thanks for coming, brother. It was nice
meeting
you, man.
Nice meeting you too, my man.
Jeez, bro.
Definitely have to get up in here.
Thank you.